I love your name.
Oh, thank you so much. I like your name.
Thank you.
How have you walked through life with a name like Sailor in the way that, do people look at you going, okay, explain it?
Everyone always asks, and I always say that my parents, they found out that they were pregnant with me in Hawaii, and that's the true origin story.
But I love it, though, because to me, it's so free and it's very universal.
Thank you. The other two options were Captain and Aloha. So I'm very happy that I got Sailor. Honestly, I feel like it's the best of the three. Aloha would have been quite the journey to go on.
But talk about a happy thought there. I mean, if every time someone saw you, they said Aloha, that's like saying Merry Christmas.
It is pretty cool. It is pretty cool. But it would be like, aloha, aloha, like it'd be a lot.
How did you get connected to Sacred Devine candles? Because I love candles. I think that it really purifies the atmosphere that we grow into.
Yes, absolutely. When I was approached with this idea to collaborate on a brand, it was so closely aligned with what I was experiencing at the time. So I really knew I couldn't say no. And I was really excited to have the opportunity to bring everyone a sense of comfort with these angel numbers, just as I had found myself with angel numbers. So it was a really beautiful collaboration.
The art of ancient self-care. What are we doing wrong today that they were doing so right?
Oh my goodness. I think that I was just saying this earlier today, but I find that self-care really is an action, and it is something like, it's a real, it's sort of a struggle, you really have to want to take care of yourself. And I find that we can say self-care are all of these little, things that we're doing that are not actually self-care at all. But self-care in reality it's tough. It's like going to the gym for your mind and for your soul. And if you're not doing things that genuinely are taking care of yourself, you're not actually doing self-care. So I find that self-care has become a little bit of a buzzword, and it takes away the intentional action of actually taking care of yourself.
I've been a daily writer for 28 years, and then in 2017, I extended that to do a thing that I call a defrag journal, where you go in and you talk with yourself. It's yourself interviewing yourself. And I've learned so much from that, because you're right. Self-care is an overused thing, but now you've got to activate it and learn from it, then teach it.
Yeah, for sure. Wow, that's such a cool concept. I would love to do that myself. Yeah, I find that, we can always say we're having these moments of self-care, but in reality, you have to wake up every day with the intention of doing things that are going to be beneficial for you and breaking toxic patterns and making smarter decisions. All of that stuff isn't that fun. It's like eating vegetables instead of eating mac and cheese. We all want the mac and cheese, but we have to eat the vegetables if we want to take care of ourselves. And it's the same thing for our mind. It's like we all want to just watch TV and check out, but when we read a book or do yoga or things that are genuinely opening our mind and connecting ourselves to ourselves, it's a lot tougher, but it's a lot more bountiful.
I love the way you use the word intention, because I take intention walks, and on the intention walk, I will sit there and say, my intention today is to do this. It's like I'm saying, this is my intention. Now I have to live up to the intention.
Yes, exactly. Absolutely. It's everything, you have to have intention. You have to be doing things with intention, or else you're just doing something to do something.
How important is everything around you? In other words, I'm a believer in that the seed becomes the tree, becomes the paper. I write on the paper, becomes a thought. It's now shared. I mean, what are you into that as well?
Absolutely. I think that connects also to the idea of manifestation. I think that our thoughts, the way that we speak, the way that we interact, the way that we even take out our garbage, everything in our lives that we do connects to something bigger and connects to a bigger state of mind. So I try and be very, another way to use this word, intentional with everything that I do and everything that I say. So I can either wake up and I can say, oh, it's another day, or I can wake up and I can say, I have another day. I have a full, 24 hours of what can I do with this, and it's about taking this life that we're given, and no matter what's on our plate, finding a way to create the most of it. And also, it's like people that are mean to waiters, but really nice to a CEO or something. That's the action that's not going to give you a bountiful and beautiful life. It's, when you're kind to everyone, no matter who they are, what they're doing, when you live, even if you're doing an awful, boring job, when you work that job to the best of your ability and you make the connections that you can make in that job, then you're going to have this bountiful, beautiful life. If you're just moping around, nothing's going to come of it. So it's just about, turning lemons into lemonade and finding every single moment in your life and creating some magic in those moments.
Well, you're going to think I'm weird. I actually celebrate Christmas every day and I'll tell people that and they look at me kind of strange. I have a Christmas tree that it's a fake one, but a Christmas tree in my window that is lit every single night.
That's amazing. I mean, here's the thing is that we can create any life that we want to live, it doesn't matter. We don't have to follow these norms of, Christmas is the 25th. It's like, if you want it to be Christmas every day and that makes you happy, do it.
Yeah. How important is the empowerment of scent? Because, when it comes to candles, that can really get inside your mind and really, and give you a journey, or it can also take you to other areas.
Absolutely. I think that, scent is so connected to our emotions, and, you'll never forget a scent that was meaningful to you. We really tried to take these, the meanings of these angel numbers and connect each scent in each of these different candle vessels and connect them to that intention of the meaning of the angel number. So, for example, I was saying this earlier, for example, 222, it represents hope and harmony, and receiving the message of 222 means that you're on the right path at the right time. It really reminds you to be present. And the top notes of that fragrance are citrus, lemon, bergamot. The middle is jasmine. I'm pretty sure the base is ginger. And, so we have all these very sparky, vibrant fragrances, which genuinely, when you light that candle, you really do feel present in the moment. It's that kind of fragrance, whereas, let's say 333, 333 represents support. It's remembering your resilience. It's that the universe is supporting you, and it's just a reminder of your strength during hard times. So when I light 333, I usually light it at night, and it's when I just want a big hug from the universe, and I want to smell something that reminds me of that. And so the 333, it's very vanilla-y, it's musky, it's amber, it smells sort of like cookies coming out of an oven. So we really tried to, every single scent of every single candle, we wanted them to be very, again, intentional. That's the buzzword of this interview. And we wanted it not to just be a scent and then slapping 333 on it. We wanted everything to be very connected and aligned, and they all really are. So I find that each number and each angel number meaning does connect to every fragrance note in that candle.
You are so right about scent, because I study Native American spirituality, and that's one of the things that, with sage and things like that, when you could be walking through the store and a scent will go, will enter your body, and whatever happened in that moment that you first picked up on that scent will be reborn in your heart. And that's why it's so important for people to connect with you on this, because find the positive, get into the positive, so that when you do have a somewhat bad day, go to the scent, allow it to do what it's supposed to do.
Absolutely. That's a great point. I definitely find that, as you said, scents can bring you to different places. So when you light, let's say the 111 candle, which is manifestation, and you connect your manifestations to that scent, when you light that, you really can spark that back up again,
Do you have power numbers? I mean, in the way, because I mean, I always believe that numbers are always reaching out on us. And I think that's my connection to constantly being connected to a clock. And it's because I know those numbers are trying to say something to me. And what I'll do with numerology is I'll go and I'll look up the numbers. What is it saying to me? How can I activate this?
Yes, for sure. I have always personally felt very connected to 1111.
Yes.
I see that everywhere. I mean, like in the most crazy places. And around 2 years ago, I broke up with my boyfriend and I was like having a really tough time. And I swear to God, I saw 1111 on everything. I remember that morning I opened up a new maple syrup to put in my coffee, and on the expiration date, it was November 11th at 11:11. That was the time of the expiration date. And I was like, you have to be kidding me. Like it was. And then later that day, I, was walking around and a bus passed by and it was number 11. And it was, there are those moments where I'm like, whoa. And, there was moments where I was feeling so anxious, and I would walk around and I started seeing 444 everywhere.
Yeah.
And I was like, what is that? And I Googled it, and, it's a sign of protection, and that's that the universe is watching over you and protecting you. And so, in those awful times of anxiety, I was like, oh my God, I'm going to be okay. Like, it's sort of connecting you to the magic of something bigger, which I think is a really beautiful thing. And although, seeing that 11:11 didn't, change the state of my relationship, it gave me that sense of hope and that sense of, okay, maybe I did make the right decision, and maybe things are going to work themselves out. And then it gives you sort of that sort of push to make a action step towards something that you may want.
When did you finally realize that this was the path that you were taking, in the way that it was like, wait a second, I'm not exactly like everybody else, but I'm going to be true to myself?
I think that I've always wanted to create something with angel numbers, and they really have been. I'm not a very, I'm not a religious person. I guess I sort of am a spiritual person, but I've always been a realist, and I've always been someone that's looked to, the things right in front of me for help and guidance. And so these numbers were a beautiful thing, where it was just realizing these synchronicities and this magic that's among us, and feeling like, oh my gosh, like there is something bigger and there is something guiding me. And it was a really beautiful realization. So to be able to bring these numbers into products that activate in everyday life is a really powerful thing. I think that, I light a candle every day. Whether it's in the morning when I'm getting ready, or whether it's at night when I'm, getting ready to go to bed, or during the day when I'm working. I mean, like, that's something that I do every day. So lighting these sacred and divine candles, it's something that attaches an intention, attaches a meaning, attaches a feeling. And when I do light these certain candles, it reminds me to connect to that bigger thing, and connect to that beauty of the angel numbers and the beauty of the magic in the world. And, I'm really happy and really proud to be able to share that with people.
I've always looked at the lighting of a candle as being present with a beginning. And the question in your heart at that point in time is, all right, what's the first step of this brand new beginning?
Yes. Sorry, repeat that. Sorry, did you ask?
In other words, it's like, when you light a candle, you're giving life to something, to the fire. So then my heart, the question that goes into my heart at that point in time is, what's going to be the first step of this brand new beginning? In other words, you're present. You're in this place where you've got control. Grow with it.
For sure. And also, I made this joke the other day, but it's so true, is that, when you light a candle, you physically can't leave that space
Right.
or else you will burn that room down or something, or you really have to be in the space that you light the candles. So it sort of is a hilariously beautiful thing that these candles, require you to be present in a space. You cannot have a open flame and not be there. So, when I light these candles, it reminds me, okay, I'm here. This is the life that I've been given. This is the day that I have. And what am I going to do with that? And so it's a beautiful thing that reminds you that you're in control. You know, we all are, even in moments that we feel we have no control, we always can find a way to regain that.
When the scent becomes part of the room, what do you do? Do you become more creative? Do you sit down and start planning things? What happens to your imagination when all of this is starting to take place? Because to me, the scent of a candle is like the song on the radio. I'm going somewhere when that song hits me.
Yeah. I mean, it depends on the candle. So it's like I light 111 a lot in the morning, which is the manifestation candle. And that one smells it's very like clean and citrusy with a couple notes of jasmine and cedar. I mean, each of our candles, the fragrances, I must say, are the most dynamic and complex fragrances I've ever smelt in candles. Usually candles do smell like one particular thing. These very much, they have a whole journey to sort of go on as you burn this candle. So anyways, it depends on the fragrance, but I find that, you know, the more brighter, lighter fragrances, which are connected to things like change and luck and manifestation, which is 111 and 555 and 777, those do make me feel more energized and more like, okay, let me journal, or okay, let me, you know, make a to-do list of things that I need to do today, or, you know, let me go and go to the gym or go for a run. And then ones that are more deep and I guess maybe a little bit more masculine, which would be like 888 or 999, which is abundance and new beginnings. And then there's 333. There's warmer notes from those. And I find that lighting those at night calm me down. They bring me more down to earth. They ground me. They remind me to do some things that, you know, sort of, you know, bring me down a little bit in a good way, in a way of like, you know, let me do something for myself that's going to connect me to myself again after a busy day.
Am I being selfish in the way that I like to just smell a candle before I share the flame? I like to just sit there and just smell it. There's just because A, there's history there. B, there's also going to be a future there.
Yeah, also you know, that's called the cold throw. So it's like there's a whole different fragrance. There's a whole different fragrance journey when the candle is not even burnt yet. That's the cold throw. And that's like, I mean, it's amazing as well. But then when you burn it, that's the hot throw. And that's like, you know, you go down an entire different journey. And then as you burn these candles, I know the scent really does. I mean, it's always a similar scent, but it changes in terms of reaching that base note at the bottom. And it really is a journey. And I really do feel like I'm in these different spaces emotionally when I'm lighting these candles.
How many people have reached out to you to ask, are you going to share books? Because to sit down and read while one of these candles is, you know, is lit and things like that. I mean, I could just find myself sitting overlooking this forest in South Charlotte with the candle, with your book, where you're talking about how people's lives have changed or how your own personal life has grown beyond where you once stood.
Oh, that's amazing. I mean, I've never been told to write a book, but I definitely have a bunch of books that I've read that would definitely connect to these candles, and maybe I could share a list. That's a good idea.
Yeah. How does a new idea arrive? Do you listen to it right from the very beginning, or do you have to set it aside and say, okay, if this is really going to happen, I've got to be patient, and it'll come up and not, you know, kind of tap me on the shoulder again?
I find that I like to take small steps, you know, small steps at a time, because I think that I'm the kind of person that can want to go from 0 to 100, and then I get overwhelmed or I get upset that it's not going somewhere quick enough, or, you know, it's all of that sort of urgency that then turns me away from the idea. So I think, okay, what's something that I can do today that'll bring me closer to an end goal in that idea? And then what's something I can do tomorrow? And then what's something I can do the next day, you know, and they might not all add up to something tangible or real at the end of the week, but at least I will have made steps that will bring me closer to that end goal. So I think that that's a great way of looking at, you know, tackling a new journey or a new venture or a new idea.
How can people reach out to you? They're going to want these candles because, I mean, it's just something that they need to put into their everyday life, not just for the holiday, but to their everyday life.
I agree. These candles, you can find them on thesacredanddivine.com, and our Instagram is Sacred and Divine. We also share some great inspirational quotes, and it's a great account to follow. Personally, I'm always like looking at it for some inspiration.
Yeah.
And my Instagram as well is Sailor Brinkley-Cook, and you can find a lot of information about Sacred and Divine on there as well.
Man, I have loved talking with you today. You have got such a beautiful heart.
Oh, thank you. You too, Arrow. It's been great.
Please come back to the show anytime in the future, Sailor.
Oh, thank you. I hope I will.
You bet. Be brilliant today.
Oh, you too.